Welcome to Beauty Uncovered. This is Danielle Frank, and it's Thursday, so it is a coffee clutch day. Got my Starbucks all ready. And today we had someone write into Beauty Uncovered at Olaplex.com because, y'all can do that if you want to. And she was talking about the episode that we did on January 31st, which was with Dr. Sharon Huang. She talked about dentistry and cosmetic dentistry. And Trisha, who's from Alabama, had some really great stories to tell and really how it affected a lot about what you were thinking about it. I'm so glad you're here, Trisha. Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
You were telling us telling me a little bit about some of the experiences that you had with cosmetic dentistry. You had an issue when you were young.
Oh, yes. It really resonated with me because definitely your smile and, is associated with how you feel, mental health, and also physical health. But yes, so when I was young, I decided to get on my brother's bike, and I was driving in. We lived in Vail at the time, and so there was underground parking above all the condos and stuff. And so I decided to get on it, and I fell flat on my face on the scrape. I mean, it was awful. So they had to take me, and they glued the front of my teeth together, the top ones. And so I had to wait because they were loose, and then they had to get stronger. But in the meantime,
did they cut in half, or was it like something where they fell out and they had to kind of put them back in?
They were all in, but they were just really loose. And so I chipped my front right tooth. And so that has really bothered me ever since because, there's good dentists and there's not so good dentists. Mm-hmm. And so it's really been a complex of mine. So, I always if I'm taking pictures, I always have to be on a certain side because I feel like you can see it and it's just sticking out.
It's funny. Don't you feel like with dental health, it's like one of those things that it's almost like one of the last things that we are taking care of. I mean, I don't know. Maybe that's just me. I'm not saying it's the last thing. I mean, I do my regular things, but I'm saying like going to the dentist and all that stuff. But when it comes to that cosmetic, it's like you're trying to prioritize it because it can get expensive.
It's so expensive. So getting it, getting your mouth to look right or make you feel well with it, it's just so expensive out there. It's hard to get it done. So, you'll go to somebody and they charge you and it's like, it may not be so good. I don't know how many times I've had it redone. And even the last time it was like, what the heck? Because then he shortened the other side a little bit. So now it looks like there's a chip on there because they don't match up because one is shorter than the other and he kind of curved it. So it's not.
Meanwhile, you have a beautiful smile. So you wouldn't know it. But even that's the funny thing. It's like even the stuff that we like, for the most part, I think most people don't notice these things. We do, right?
Yes, it's definitely when you sit there and look at yourself every day, you're going to notice those little things and other people don't see it. But, or notice, they would have to be pretty close to notice it.
It's funny. I have a sunspot. I keep on calling it my soccer mom sunspot, because you're driving the kids in the minivan and the sun is all coming in on one side. So, of course, it's only one side that you have this weird mark. And over the years, like I am so conscious of it and I'm always covering it and everything. And it, no matter what peels and whatnot I've done, it keeps on coming back. But it's so funny how conscious I feel about it and the amount of people that say, I don't even notice it.
Even like my husband, he never really smiled and he always like had a grin. And it was like, why? And it was just because he felt so bad. He had poor mouth or poor health, oral health, that he just wouldn't smile and he had a grin. It was cute, but you never saw his teeth, which later, resonated to his health issues. And
that's what's so interesting is that like, it really does have a direct correlation. I almost feel like, I'm not like, again, when I say that we put off the dentist, it's kind of like of all the different medical things that we do and the checkups and stuff like that, I would think that the dentist is probably one of those things that we should probably be putting on a priority list no matter what.
It is on mine.
But it's not.
I'm one of those weird ones. I love going to the dentist. I always feel my teeth feel so clean because I feel like I can't get them clean like they can. And it was just like, I love going. And I know that's a rare thing. Even during the pandemic, I went.
I think when I was younger, I didn't like it as much. Nowadays I do. Mostly because I really like the fact that they're like, oh, no cavities in it.
I know. That's always right.
But when I was younger, it was always a scary proposition. And we were talking about on that podcast about how, I had a little bit of a delayed going there, partially because in 2020, with not only I had left our old dentist, we had gotten new insurance. And so I had to look for a new one. And then the pandemic hit. So you didn't want to go to the dentist right away because, at that time it was like a little scary to do such a thing. But then when I tried to find one that was under my coverage, they were not taking any new clients.
Oh, no.
No, they weren't, because it was like they were trying to catch up from all of their base clients that couldn't come in on the regular, probably limiting because of, I'm sure they have very high standards for sanitation, but there probably was some additional things that they had to implement, just like anybody else. So, the cost so it took us like a year to finally find a dentist that could take us with our insurance.
Oh my gosh, that's the worst. I know. It's hard depending on your insurance to find that doctor. That's why I think my current doctor is not my favorite, because he takes my insurance. So, I like him and stuff, and I love the one who cleans my teeth. But, I'm just
that makes a big difference
this point. Yeah.
So in that whole entire thing, like listening to the podcast and listening to the episode, I think, the correlation between mental health and your smile being really good is really, there's a direct correlation. I think of my son, like I said, he always had issues with his teeth. I'm pretty sure it's hereditary. And for a while there, he was smiling with his hand over his face, which always, for a little while, it's much better now, but like for a little while, because you're going through a correction a lot of times. Did you feel as though maybe, when it comes to future ideas of what you want to do in order to get your teeth adjusted? Because I know they had talked a lot about veneers and stuff, but veneers scare me.
They kind of scare me too. And those, my thing is, it's just the front teeth, tooth. You know what I mean? Well, one side I would like the whole thing done, but you got to do either all the top or something. I don't know if they can do just like 2 teeth. I don't know. So it's just, I don't know. I would love
hopefully
to do
there's more answers, and like at least a part of the challenge is being armed with information before we go in there, right?
Absolutely. Oh my gosh. Even when she talked about, I'm so glad to hear her podcast, because I thought I was the only one that flossed after I brushed my teeth. So when she said that, I laughed. I was like, oh my God.
Well, she does it before, but it was me that was doing it after.
Yeah, me too. And it's like, oh my gosh, there's so much I learned in like how,
I think it's because when I get so up close to my teeth, like I feel like they have to be cleaned before.
Clean first, right? I agree. It's so funny.
Now I'm like, okay, no, actually what she said makes complete sense.
I know. I just learned so much from listening to her, because even like when you're flossing, it's getting the bacteria because it promotes. And then if it goes into your system, you get health issues. And even like with the mouthwash. Oh my gosh. Who knew you needed alcohol free, because that gets your mouth dries out from the alcohol, and then that promotes bacteria, which then promotes, going into your system, causing more health
And
issues.
it's like a never ending cycle.
Yeah, so it was great to learn the steps finally. I don't know why dentists don't really tell you these things. I don't know.
And that's what I think is funny, because like even I was saying that, I've always kind of on a side knew that there was a correlation between teeth health and your physical health, in particular with heart. But
Yes.
I never really thought about why. Like part of me thought was that, maybe a person that had teeth issue, wasn't necessarily taking care of their health, and that, that was kind of correlating to heart disease. But I didn't really understand that it was the bacteria that's getting into the teeth, the tooth, and the gum disease that comes along with it, and how it can get into your system and affect different organs. Like that was kind of
I know.
okay.
Yeah.
Now
It's
that makes
crazy.
sense.
I know. I enjoyed it though. There's so much information
Oh,
on that.
that makes me happy.
Yeah.
I am so glad that you wrote in and told me your story, and that you were able to share it with everybody, because I'm sure there's other people that have been in the same situation. Actually, come to think of it, my own sister, oh no, she would care if I mention this. When she was a kid, she actually had, don't ask how, a rock fell on her face.
What?
Oh,
Oh
come on. It was the
no.
80s. We were like feral children.
Oh
We
my
ran
God.
around the neighborhood. Who knows what we were playing? I didn't do it. I know that much. But she broke a corner of her tooth off, and that was like a big thing. Like, and it really does affect your self-esteem when you have that right there in the front. So when I read what you were saying, and how that affected you, it reminded me of my sister. And that's
I
a
know.
rough one.
And everybody's so camera happy these days. So, you have a camera in your face all the time. So it's like,
Yeah, and
play it.
also what I've learned from her experience, and I probably would never have known otherwise, is that when you do get those things, those chips fixed and everything, it's not permanent. Like you got to do it again at some point or another.
Oh no. And if you drink coffee or Dr. Pepper like I do, it stains them. So then you're dealing with, stained teeth. So it's always something.
Well, I appreciate you coming on and telling us your story. And thank you so much for listening to the podcast. And I seen you
Well, thank
comment and
you.
everything, and I appreciate you so much.
You're welcome. And thank you for having me.